So I'm going to be showing you how you install the Roper Slopper plate, and this is the special one from the V11lemans.com forum. We lovingly call this the Rusty Star Picket project. We'll be taking apart the lower part of the engine here. We'll be putting the plate in here. If you were to do a level of difficulty, if changing out a spark plug is a 1, this is probably a 2, maybe 2.5, just because of the number of things you have to take apart. But you'll see from the video here, it's relatively easy. And here we go. Well, oil's coming out, so that's a good sign. Well, we won't bore you with the oil draining into the pan. I'll let that roll all tonight, and then we can start going at the pan tomorrow. Well, so far I let the oil drain last night, and now I went in and went ahead and started loosening and taking off all the screws for the oil pan. For the drain plug, it's a 17mm socket, and then all of these screws are 5mm Allens. And then when we get to undoing some of the hose fastenings in there, that looks like it's going to be a 19mm wrench. I can say that it's a very archaic and goozy-like to have to remove an oil pan in order to get to an oil filter. But if you're used to your goozies, you're used to that. You definitely do want to always keep a fresh gasket around. Most of the time they're probably not going to survive the surgery here. Drain that rest into the pan, and then start on the middle section. As you may be able to see here, oil filters here. This is probably the pump pickup here. Oil filter doesn't have that many miles on it. I'm going to go ahead and leave it for now. Put some fresh oil in there. And then this lower section is held on by screws up underneath there. If I'm lucky, it'll be the other same size as the other ones. I'm going to remove this filter housing contraption here. It'll just take a couple screws, and then we'll be able to put the gasket and plate back up in there. And then there's just 4 screws, front and rear, that hold in this oil filter. And then this whole piece comes out. Again, clean some more, and out it comes. And as you look up into the crankcase here, you can see the plate clearly in position here. The gaskets there will be the ones that are holding on to the oil filter housing. Just make sure you snug up all the screws tight, but not too tight. These stainless steel screws appear to be made out of something similar to provolone, so do be careful on that. Yours, of course, will not have this lovely markings on your plate. Hopefully we'll have something much more kind. And then from the outside, now you can see that telltale roper line. I'm gonna have to apologize for the background noise. That's the air conditioner running here at the house. It was 99 degrees today outside, so it's still quite warm, even now late at night. So it'll unfortunately be running. Hopefully it won't distort the audio for this video too much. Where the last I left off, I did have the plate installed below, and the next step is to get the oil filter assembly then installed up underneath where it's supposed to go. You can see the two fittings that we'll need to slip in here on the oil filter assembly. So that will go into these two slots, and then the four screws that put that together. So once we get that done, then we're actually just ready to load the oil pan back on with a new gasket. It may have not been easy to see there in the time lapse there, but what I originally done is I tightened down this skirt plate first, and it didn't allow enough room for me to install the filter assembly. So by loosening up the plate here, all those peripheral bolts, then I could get this filter assembly started. And now what I'll do is I'll tighten this up and then to go back around and tighten up the rest of the skirt screws. So I'm not sure exactly what happened to this screw here, but it almost looks like it's stretched somehow. I certainly, last time I changed the oil and dropped that pan, I torqued it to spec, but I don't know what it's made of, but it looks like it literally just pulled it long. I always keep a good supply of hardware around, so I've got the exact size M625, I believe this is, so I keep that handy. And when we move to the other side, we'll be able to see the kickstand bolt that's also pretty wonky in a different way. I did put the sump pan bolts in on the other side prematurely because we've still got the, let's be careful here, no doubt, no over tightening. Certainly snug there. The kickstand stopper, I'm sure that's the technical term for it, still needs to go on, so I'll have to loosen up two bolts over yonder. We'll move there next. And then also replace the kickstand bolt, which is, or screw, or whatever you want to call it. As we move back over to this side, we've got this screw that goes in here, and if you recall, there's a wee spacer that also fits in there, which may or may not cooperate. You gotta just give it a little bit of a yank here, and it'll open up just enough to hopefully fit up in there. As we could see, this bolt here is no longer anything resembling straight. All I did was able to take this bolt off, start this one here, and we can see there should be enough play in both of these that I can tighten down both bolts without any binding. So I think we are actually pretty good. You may want to just go ahead and, so that should give us a nice solid kickstand for now. I'll also be posting a link to the V11 Le Mans forum, which is the premier site for all things V11 Sport. The last step being the oil line on the back of the sump. And there we go. That should be the complete roper plate installation. We'll fill it up with oil, we'll check for leaks, and hopefully we don't have any.